Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host, and I'm joined by the film encyclopedia man, Boaz Dix. We are a couple of filmmakers on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode we pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on VOD. Myself and Boaz pick our favourite film from that topic, or team up against a guest and battle it out to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please enjoy part 2. Hello. As Boaz has just eaten another human, or very odd stomach rumble before I clicked record again.
It was a whole pavlova. That's what it was.
Okay, sure. The Nerd Dose, unfortunately, couldn't be with us, but they picked an absolute corker, in my opinion. The Suicide Squad from 2019. Shazam was 2019 as well, wasn't it? Oh no, the Suicide Squad, bloody hell, that was only last year. Christ, I thought it was a lot longer ago. My God. They picked the Suicide Squad. I think we were probably gonna pick the Suicide Squad if they didn't pick it.
Yeah.
I think we were very close to picking this film for when we did Idris Elba films as well. I really enjoy this film. Yeah, it's very funny. Watching it now, I do have some issues, but it's still very, very good, and I do love James Gunn's work. Definitely his sense of humour is not for everyone, but it is for us. So, Boaz, what happens in the Suicide Squad?
So in the Suicide Squad, Amanda Waller, she assembles a team of supervillains, and if they go through with their assignment, they get 10 years off of their sentence. And she sets up an incredibly large team of villains. I shouldn't say heroes. And most of them die within the first, 15 minutes or whatever. They die fairly quickly. But the main ones that survive are, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Peacemaker, Ratcatcher, Polka Dot Man, King Shark, and Bloodsport.
Yeah, Bloodsport, Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba's character. So she forces them to destroy a secret base in the fictional island of Cato Maltese, which has had a military coup and whose army is very anti-American. So whatever is in this secret base called Jotunheim, the Americans want it destroyed, and so they're going to send these team of supervillains to do it. It turns out what's in Cato Maltese in Jotunheim is a giant alien starfish,
Not a ice giant from the Thor film,
and not a butthole. Yes, and so they destroy the butthole, and the world is saved.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple premise, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, and there's a lot of twists and turns in the film, like so many. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. I really like this film. James Gunn's sense of humor is very crude, but I still quite enjoy that kind of humor. Very bloody and gory, this film as well, which I loved as well. Really embracing that.
I mean, I love it, and just watching it is great. But I still say now what I said then. There's no way in hell this should have been a 15. Like, when I watched this, I don't know what it was in the States, but if you're in the UK, this was a 15. And I have no fucking clue how it ended up with that rating. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. I sent I brought my brother to it. He loved it, but even he thought, there's no way I'm meant to watch this. This is an 18. This is an 18. Not even I would say, not even like a hard 15. This is an 18. Man. I don't know whose dick Warner Brothers sucked in order for the British, rating board to give this a pass. But there's, other than that, it's great. Other than that, fucking love it. But,
it might be because there's no sexual violence or drug taking. Maybe, I don't know. But
no, I don't even agree with that. Like they mention, what was it? Like they have sex, her and him and Harley Quinn. Yeah, I just don't get it, man. Like, you can't put that much violence, even just violence alone.
Yeah.
You can't put that much violence and it not be considered an 18. I just cannot, for the life of me, fathom that.
Yeah, teenagers are gonna fucking love this film. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, you feel like you shouldn't. Felt like we shouldn't. My brother shouldn't have been in the cinema as I was watching. It's like he snuck in. Yeah, no, I do not understand the rating for that. I'm not going to even seek to understand. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm glad that it can traumatize 15-year-olds and they can have a good laugh at it as well.
So directing then, like as you said, Boaz, the opening scene on the beach is gory and funny. I think the only cool move any of the heroes gets is like Captain Boomerang slicing a guy's throat and then slicing the top of another guy's head off. Apart from that, they're all kind of stupid.
Yeah.
The orange girl like just jumps on the rails of a helicopter and brings it down, killing herself and Boomerang, which was funny.
Yeah.
The funniest one is by far is TDK, where he detaches his arms and just slaps some goons on the helmet in mid-air.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell? They're just slightly annoyed. And they shoot the fuck out of him.
I love the scene because James Gunn is kind of acknowledging that, some of these supervillains are really dumb, so let's just kill them in a funny way. It's actually quite refreshing to see. I think this film plays well for people who aren't that into superhero films, I would say. Just seeing a load of comic book characters get killed in stupid ways would be quite satisfying to non-typical comic book fans.
It's very tongue-in-cheek how it's... It is like, listen, I'm not going to try and make villains and heroes look cool, and they try to glamour, make it hip and modern and make sense. It's like, no, comic books are just weird. Here you go. These are stupid characters. They're very colourful with nonsensical powers. But I don't feel like it's making too much fun of them, but it's like, listen, some of them are going to die, and, it is kind of a ridiculous film, but whatever.
Yeah.
It just rolls with it.
I mean, one is called Javelin because he's got a javelin.
He's got a javelin.
That's it.
To be honest, yeah. I mean, I think DC Comics are pretty good as well. Like, I'm not one that just bats for one of the companies. I like both of them. But DC comic characters back in the day, God, there were some stupid fucking villains. There were some really stupid ones. And I think it would be great if he does a sequel and introduces way more, because there are some really doozies. There was a Batman villain called the Ten-Eyed Man, and he had eyes on each of his fingers, but not in his face. That was his only power. He had eyes on his fingers.
Okay.
That sounds terrible. That's a terrible villain. But, he existed.
Amazing. To be honest, I didn't enjoy most of the Harley scenes, but her action scene when she breaks out of that building is so well done. Like, the first part is very like John Wicky, with Harley spinning around, taking out goons with dual pistols. That was really well done. Then there's brilliant camera flow when she kills a load with those metal doors and uses a torn piece of her dress so effectively. Then it's just pure machine gun porn when she unloads on a bunch of soldiers. Then flowers replace the blood, which was kind of a cool visual.
That was really cool. Man.
Yeah, a great variation of styles of action to create a brilliant action scene as a whole. Not a massive fan of the character, but her action, probably the best action scene for me in the film.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is I think that is the best choreographed action scene in the film.
I love how gory this film is at times, even though I always hate it when blood splatters on the lens. But there we go. Let's move past that quickly. The little scene where the Suicide Squad take out a load of soldiers in the rain just outside Jotunheim is great. Rick Flag blows a hole through two men with a shotgun.
Yeah, at the same time. That was amazing. Yeah.
But the best one by far is King Shark, where you think he's just about to eat him, but no, he just rips him in two in slow motion. That was awesome. That's definitely my favorite moment in that scene.
Yeah. It would have been funny if, one of the Shazam kids appeared and just said, fatality.
Yeah. Have you got a favorite gory moment? Any other ones?
Where King Shark, most of them are with King Shark, to be honest with you. Like, he's pretty disgusting. But there's one where you think he's dead. I thought, oh man, he's dead. Like, he falls off of the what was it? The aquarium explodes. He gets eaten he's getting eaten by these little things that he thought were his friends. Then he falls hundreds and hundreds of feet off the tower. Then gets shot by every soldier there. Just unloads a clip into King Shark. And then he gets up. I thought he was dead. Then he gets up.
So did I,
yeah. He gets up and then eats the commander's head off. That's my favorite gory scene.
And then I think later on he's still chewing on his skull.
Yeah, even when they're running down, he's still chewing it. He's just waving.
Yum yum. Oh god, some of the visual gags here are amazing, and obviously the best one is from Polka Dot Man's perspective. Like, this shot of the Suicide Squad imagined as Polka Dot Man's mum is amazing.
Yeah, that was so funny.
And then when Polka Dot Man is like dancing at a nightclub and they with girls and they're all turned into his mum, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, he's got some serious problems. And definitely it climaxes in, I think it's one of the funniest things with Starro. I just love that scene of, like, he's leading it, everybody, like Captain America. You, take the high round. You, creature is num-nums. You, that's your mum. You know? It's just his mum taking down the building. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was so good. I was genuinely gutted when he died, though.
Yeah.
Polka Dot Man, the only one that died that I was gutted for.
Yeah, same. It's also weird that they did not make a big deal about his death. It's like he just got crushed, and they just carry on.
Yeah, they just move on. All right, he's dead.
They just move on. You know, realistically, I think, like, thematically,
maybe his first name was Milton as well. You know.
Yeah, Milton. That was funny. But, like, in a film, usually, like, they'll stop like, no. Yeah. But, you know, they're fighting a giant monster. They ain't got time for this shit. Like, you know,
shaped as a starfish.
Yeah.
Favorite shot for me, I'm going favorite shot, not scene, is I just love the confidence in James Gunn's directing sometimes. There's a great, like, panning shot on Peacemaker's shiny helmet of Rick Flag and Peacemaker fighting.
Yeah, that was
in
good.
The reflection. But he, like, holds it for a good, like, 20 seconds before cutting away. And I love how long he holds that shot for before going into the fight proper. You know, I just love the confidence in doing that. I remember liking Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where there's a massive fight scene going on against, again, a big monster, and the camera's just focused on Baby Groot. That's it, you know, and all the other Guardians come in and stuff. So, again, like, James Gunn is so good at being very versatile with action scenes for me, and knowing when, like, what the balance of his film is going to be like in terms of action. So, yeah, I just felt like that little moment there was just a little moment of James Gunn genius kind of thing, of just utilizing the toilet helmet.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see an action scene done like that. There are a lot of really cool, unique scenes. I like the Suicide Squad fighting the Corto Maltese Resistance, and they've got no idea. Because I thought that was a really cool scene where they're trying to one up each other about you know, who can kill the best. And man, that was like really creative kills, really kind of, you know, just awesome, you know, stealth murders and all this stuff. And then the comedy that they're competing with each other, like trying to get the better, you know, trickier shots in, or the more elaborate kills. And then at the end, it's like, oh, Rick, you know, and like he's laughing with the, oh, we're here to save you. It's like,
oh, wow, we didn't see anyone. No one, we didn't see no one.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. She's like, my men should have contacted me. And they're like, oh, we didn't see anybody. And then King Shark, like, vomits a shoe. Yeah.
Well, Polka Dot Man says, I turned them into my mother in my head and killed them all.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
But it's great because there's no way you see that reveal coming at all. Like, you know, your superheroes kill a load of people and they didn't even need to kill them for a joke, you know?
Yeah.
They kill all of them for a joke. that's just great commitment to this kind of wild tone, I would say. Yeah, that scene is great. And just, I love the bit when, I remember in the cinema, we all kind of laughed out loud when, like, Peacemaker just walks past a dude, like, sleeping, and he just stabs him multiple times.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Do you remember I like the one in the competition, like the last person he killed, because, what was it? Bloodshot, his trick shot. Bloodsport. His trick shot is he shot an electric fan into a guy's bath and fried him.
Yeah.
And then Peacemaker shot a guy in the shoulder, and he was like, "That's non-fatal." He goes, "Explosive rounds," and the guy explodes.
Yeah.
Well,
isn't it over the shoulder as well? He doesn't even look.
Yeah, he does it like without looking. He's like, "That's not fatal." It's like explosive rounds. Poof. And then I like the banter because he was like, "That's unnecessary." Well, it's necessary if it's dope as fuck. And then he turns around and he goes, "Fuck, he's right." Like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, John Cena's line there was quite good. Yeah, it was dope as fuck, but I'm not sure Idris Elba delivered that amazingly. It didn't work for me amazing, but yeah, I still quite enjoyed Cena's bit there. Directing score, Boaz, what are you going for?
8.9.
Ooh, that is high. High praise for the Suicide Squad. It's quite impressive, to be honest, this film. Knowing that it's a 15, even though it probably should be an 18. But this is a huge film. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think James Gunn does an amazing job here. Like,
yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
Just the scale of it.
The scale, yeah. It's just, like, there are so many good action scenes. The effects are, top-notch. Cinematography is pretty damn good. The choreography and most of the fight scenes are amazing. It climaxes to a huge battle, and it feels huge and impressive. I don't think anything like really lets the side down. Like, it does feel like an epic movie, and I don't think you would know that coming in, especially it's a sequel to the first Suicide Squad, which really wasn't like that.
Yeah, if we were doing the David Akers Suicide Squad, we would be giving some serious low scores. I mean, that is a bad film.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's just kind of impressive how he turned that around. I was going to say one directing thing that showed up a lot. What do you think about the use of stage directions or subtitles or whatever?
Title cards,
yeah, that are like embedded into nature. He does that a lot, like meanwhile, and it's like the vines or something, or it's.
Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah,
I quite like that. I thought that was pretty inventive. I think my favorite one is they do that throughout the film. Like, you have 8 hours ago, and it's in the clouds, and you have just constantly they're doing something with nature, which is telling you what the scenes are leading into. And I think one of my favorite ones is where they escape the van, and the van explodes, and there's all this fire, and the place is on fire, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we've got stuff to do," and it's like and then in the fire it spells out like Operation Jotunheim or whatever, and then Rick Flag is like, "No, we've got to do something first." And then the Jotunheim like extinguishes, it like disappears, and then more flame comes up, and it says Harley. I thought that was pretty cool.
It does feel like a little bit that they had some budget to spare. Like, let's do that.
Yeah, I think that's probably we got some money to blow.
Which is weird with the fact that this film is so R-rated. But
yeah, we won't just do regular titles. Yeah.
Like the Russos do, with just like huge titles. Paris, London.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're enormous. Yeah, but I like the idea of like putting them in the scene. I think that's pretty clever. Actually, isn't the first time they do that? It's with Savant, and his head explodes, and his blood turns into.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's the first one, isn't it?
That's the first time you see it, and you're like, "Whoa!"
Using blood.
Yeah, using his blood.
Man's brains.
Yeah.
Christ. So score for me, I don't think I'll go as high as 8.9. I think I'll go like an 8.6 for me. So screenplay then. This film is really good, but I would say there is one scene which I did not like at all, frankly. I didn't particularly like the scene with Harley and the new president guy. All it was doing was just giving us backstory about Jotunheim with a proposal and a weird scene in a birdcage. I'm sorry, but like Juan Diego Botto, who plays the president, is not good. Like tonally, he is in a completely different movie. I was so pleased when Harley Quinn killed him. I was like, yes, we are moving on soon. Yay, he's dead. His acting when he died was so bad. I could have done a better job, to be honest, when he died. I mean, just not good for me. Yeah. And I didn't see why like Harley Quinn couldn't just be with Rick Flag so we could stay with the Suicide Squad, because it does feel like we're away from them during that scene a while, and it you know, the scene was pointless and just really slowed the film down for me. So I just felt it was a bit unnecessary. I think that is one criticism for me, that general criticism about this film. It's a bit long. It's a bit too long for me. And I don't usually say that. Usually I say I want films to be longer and flesh things out a bit more. But this was a scene where I was just like, you don't really need this here. What? Why? Do you agree with that? Or is that being harsh?
Yeah, I sort of get you. I thought it's kind of interesting, though, that setting him up as like the villain with that, you know, and then he's just dead. And then you move on to a different guy as the villain, who is a lot more villainous. I think he's a lot more suited to be the villain of the film. But yeah, I think you're right. You could have done without him.
And obviously near the end, I found it interesting when you find out that Peacemaker has been assigned to destroy like the data disk that proves that the US government was behind Project Starfish. You know, Peacemaker kills Flag and is about to kill Ratcatcher too. Then it says like 8 minutes earlier to catch up with the other Suicide Squad members high up in the building. And I was like, was this necessary? Couldn't James Gunn just intercut both action scenes together as the building's going down? Then the fight between Flag and Peacemaker could have been longer, and you could have cut out that strange aquarium scene with King Shark. That was a bit weird. I was like, what am I watching here? This is very odd. But
I think actually that's one of the hugest missed opportunities in the entire film, is the fact that Peacemaker and Bloodsport or whatever don't get a fight. They just don't get a fight. Yeah, to be honest, I think that is a huge missed opportunity in the movie, because even when you do the 8 minutes earlier and but throughout the whole film they've had a huge rivalry, and throughout the whole film they're very capable. You've seen them like kick the most ass.
Yeah,
and I think it is such a missed opportunity that when they fight, it's not a fight. You know, he shoots at him, the bullet goes through the other bullet. That's it. It's like, man, that sucks. It should have been like, the best fight in the film.
I quite like that scene though, to be fair, but it's just, I feel like I don't see why you need to go back 8 minutes earlier to a lot of like filler stuff with like the Milton joke. You know, Milton gets killed and then Harley's like, oh, I didn't know there was a Milton guy with us and stuff.
I actually like that joke. I like that scene. I'm not going to take that out. I thought that was funny.
All right. I'm not amazed by that, but but do you know what I mean though? I don't see why you couldn't intercut it. Maybe they were just trying to make it more dramatic when Bloodsport is coming all the way down each of the levels and then he sees Peacemaker.
Yeah, I think it's probably, although I never got that sense from it, but you know, the sense you get, okay, they fucked up the other team, you know, maybe Bloodsport's dead, and then she's cornered, and then you think, oh, she's going to die. And then it's like, oh, well, he didn't die. Here's actually what happened to him. I mean, if they did it like that, I think if you're doing it script-wise for it to make sense, I would make the audience at least suspect, or the other characters verbally have the opinion that Bloodsport is dead, you know, and the other team is dead. And then you can be like, oh, the surprise is they're not dead. And you're just showing that they're not dead. Because otherwise, there's no real point into doing it.
Because as soon as they do that, when Peacemaker has literally got his gun on Ratcatcher 2, and it says 8 minutes earlier, as soon as that happens, you're like, oh, okay, she's not going to die then. Something's going to happen to stop that from happening, you know? Yeah. So the whole rhythm of that sequence with Peacemaker and Ratcatcher just stops, and you're trying to rebuild your momentum again with the other crew. So for me, I would just intercut both of those scenes.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
you're
think so.
sacrificing a big action scene with the squad up the top, maybe, but it could just be also the fact that maybe they just didn't have a big fight scene between Flag and Peacemaker. I don't know, and maybe he didn't want to chop up the whole death scene with Rick Flag. So I think you definitely could have gone, the intercut way or the way they actually went. You could easily gone either way, and they just went with the 8 minutes earlier way. So
It could have made more sense, as I said, if you genuinely make it seem that the first team has died, that Bloodsport has died, then it's a surprise. Then you're like, okay, he hasn't died. Or what you could have done is, he's got Ratcatcher there, and he just shoots, or you hear a shot, bang, and then it's like 8 minutes later, and then it's Bloodsport just landed and shot him or something. But that just doesn't work with the next scene because they talk for a bit. Do you know what I mean? They're sort of working out what the fuck's going on. Yeah, no, I kind of get what you mean. There was no need for it. But I still stand by, I think it's a huge missed opportunity that they didn't have an epic fight. I did think the shot was cool, that, one bullet to the other, through the other, and that it referenced, a previous moment where it was actually the first time they met. She gives Bloodsport's backstory. He's been trained since he was a child by his father. Since he was a kid, he's been taught nothing to do but kill. And then she says the exact same thing about Peacemaker. And he's like, hang on a minute, he's exactly like me. And he's like, well, better. And he goes, well, I can hit...
He says, I always hit my targets dead center.
Yeah, that's it.
I hit them more in the center. You can't hit something more in the center. I use smaller bullets. They go inside your bullet holes without touching the sides.
Yeah. And I kind of like that reference because it turns out Bloodsport uses the smaller bullets. So I get that, but I still just think it is one of the hugest missed opportunities in the film. It's like they could have had a good fight. Like the film just felt like it was setting that up, and then it just didn't deliver that,
Yeah, I did love Bloodsport's tech, to be honest. I really like that. The fact that he just pulls something off of his suit and just creates some sort of gun.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That. Wasn't it like slingshots sometimes?
Yeah, he's got all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
slingshots, pistols, rifles, giant, I don't know, kaiju blasting cannon or whatever the fuck that was.
We probably won't see Idris Elba's Bloodsport again, but I just love that look, though. Like the helmet as well, with just the very plain helmet and then just skull teeth at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just a great look.
Also, what was it? I think the placement of after credit stuff, that pissed me off because I didn't know this until a long time after, that Peacemaker wasn't dead, because that scene is way after the fucking credits. That is way after, and I just didn't know that was happening. I was like, surely you should have done that the other way around, the after credits.
Yeah, and just have Weasel as the last one.
Yeah, Weasel, who gives a fuck about Weasel? Weasel, yeah, at the end, Weasel's alive. Okay, great. Who gives a fuck about Weasel? But why would you put the most important guy is still actually alive? We thought he was dead. He's actually alive. Why would you put that at the back? That makes no sense to me. I would have switched that round.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea. And after I'd watched the film and I heard they were doing a Peacemaker series, I was like, how the fuck are they doing that? He's dead. Only to be told, no, you need to watch the movie again.
Must be a prequel of the Suicide Squad, surely.
But I was told, no, you need to watch the film again because he actually survives after the end credits. I was like, oh shit, he did.
Because of course he does.
And, and the series is actually a sequel from that.
Going back to the fight between Peacemaker and Rick Flag,
Yeah.
I kind of like the fact that you get an interior shot of his heart.
Oh yeah, his heart, yeah.
To confirm, yes, he is dead, people.
Because I think this film has enough fake out deaths where you want to be like, no, this guy is dead. His heart has been torn to shreds.
Just to make sure, people, you're seeing his insides.
Yeah, there's no coming back from this.
I love how horror inspired this film is, not just how gory the movie is, but at the end you've got Invasion of the Body Snatchers in there with the mini starfishes taking over dead bodies like humans, thousands of rats literally eating Stario to death with blood everywhere. And I was a bit taken aback with just all the rats. I'm not a rat dude at all. I'm not sure many people are. I was just ugh, that is not fun.
So you like Bloodsport. You got a phobia of rats. That's how to beat you.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, do you like rats, Boaz?
Oh, I love them.
Really?
Yep.
Barbecues on Sundays?
Yep. My wife is going to be a rat, and we're going to have rat children. Yeah,
Right.
I love rats.
You have issues, dude. But having a giant pink and blue starfish as the main monster the Suicide Squad have to kill shouldn't work at all. But it does somehow, because it's not like the main villain. It's the US government and the militants controlling the island. So I think it just allows you to have fun with the film more, knowing the story is a bit more plausible than a grand master plan from a giant starfish.
But also, the starfish is a victim, and it's kind of strange where you're like, at the end when the starfish died, and this is an insane thing to be talking about at the end as well. But when the starfish died and it's getting its brain eaten by rats. And then the last thing it says is like, I was happy, floating in space, looking at the stars.
I just want to be a fly on the wall when James Gunn is pitching this to the producers. Like, yeah, so a load of rats is going to like consume a giant starfish and kill it to end the film. And they're like, sorry, what? Excuse me? I'd love to be as fly on the wall in that room pitching that.
Yeah, a lot of people die.
But it works. It works. It really does.
They don't play around. They're just like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, but I thought that's kind of funny that you have this huge action scene with a giant kaiju thingamajig. It looks incredibly comic booky. Yet at the same time, it's like violent and gory. Like it's crushing people, it's crushing buildings. People are dying. And you're like, man, this is fucking crazy. Yet it's still a sympathetic starfish. You're like,
yeah,
and it's sympathetic. I'm like, you got way too much going on in the emotional department there. You're like, yeah. And actually, when they go into the lab and they see what they were doing, like that was pretty fucked up. There's like half a corpse being controlled,
still alive
by a starfish. You're like, what the hell? There's someone with no face. And you're like, this is horrific.
Again, how is this not an 18, people?
Yeah, got no idea. Literally no idea. And then people have all got the starfish thing, and they're talking like the starfish, and they're like, have you come to save us? He tortures me, about the thinker. And you're like, my God, this is wild.
Yes, there's some really kind of, not necessarily psychological horror, but there is some strong like horror themes here.
Yeah,
with Starrio and mind control and all that.
Yeah, and where he tears apart the thinker.
Oh yeah, rips his limbs off.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
There are some great lines here. We've spoken about a few already, but why are you laughing at me, man? Why the fuck are you in your underwear? Tidy whities, really? Now that's just racist. They call you Peacemaker? I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
Yeah, that was funny. I also like, I think John Cena's great in this. Yeah. I like his one where he was like, you can eat a big bag of dicks. And he goes, if some villain actually put a load of dicks all throughout this beach, I'd eat every single dick if it meant,
freedom.
If it meant peace. And it's like what?
That was insane.
Yeah. And I like where she's like, why would a villain put dicks on every around the beach? And he's like, I don't know how the sick minds work. I don't know what runs through these sick people's mind.
It's not a toilet seat. It's a beacon of freedom. Bird. I love the bit when like they're attempting to rescue Harley, but she's just like stood outside like, hey, what are you guys doing? But then later on, I think Bloodsport says, what's with the javelin? I'm waiting for God to tell me. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Or him, or any of them, really.
Yeah, that
was quite funny. Yeah. And then when the signal gets back and the guy in the chair with Waller back at base sees the monitor up again and sees Starrio, and he says, "We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit."
Yeah, that was funny.
But my favorite, I think, is I think you've mentioned it already, Boaz, in the board in the meeting room, the briefing that they have from Waller, and John Cena says, "Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?" No.
Yeah, that was funny.
I love Viola Davis in this as well. I think she's just amazing. Got amazing deadpan.
Actually, what was it? You know, the first team as well, where they're talking about each other. You know, they're just talking about each other, and one of them is the detachable kid. Apparently, you know, they find out that's TDK. But the other guy, the German guy, Javelin, he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "TDK." What does that stand for? It stands for my name. It's my name. Because your name is letters, and then Boomerang is like, all names are letters, dumbass. You know.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of all that dialogue, to be honest.
I thought it was great.
I think it was just too dumb for me. I don't know. It just didn't quite land at some points. So yeah, I was quite glad most of them died, to be honest.
Where she's being interrogated, Harley Quinn, and he asks, how many others are with you? And she says 69. And he's like, 69? And the other guy like whispers into his ear. He's like,
yeah.
He's like, oh, shit.
That was great. What's your favourite, do you reckon, then?
Yeah, probably like, that's your mum.
Yeah, that was good.
That was fucking funny. So simple, but it's hilarious. Or, you know, eating every dick on the beach. That was quite funny.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. Or, you know, starfish is slang for butthole.
Yeah,
any of those three.
Yeah, so many good ones.
Yeah, so many good ones.
Screenplay score then, Boaz. What are you going for the Suicide Squad? Emphasis on the.
Yeah. Probably like 8.3. I was going to say one thing in directing that I never said, but,
yeah,
you know,
sure.
There was one way they used flashbacks, which I thought was kind of cool, where she's reminiscing about her father, and the flashback is in the reflection on the car window. On the bus window, like right next to her. But it's done as a reflection.
Yeah, I thought that was quite clever. Yeah, again, James Gunn has just a really great visual sensibility and creativity with that sort of thing. I do think he's a real talent. I really do. Certainly in the comic book realm of films. I can't wait for Guardians 3. Cannot wait.
Yeah. I think I said this to you before when we were going to this film, but like comic book fact that as daft as, because I remember this when the trailer first dropped and it showed Starro the Conqueror. I was like, oh my God, Starro? Everybody else is like, is that a giant fucking starfish? What? I think you were like, is that a starfish? I was like, no, that's Starro. You know, have some respect, man.
Who the fuck is Starro?
Yeah. But Starro is, in fact, the very first villain that the Justice League fought together in the first issue of the Justice League.
That is so funny. Oh, God. Can you imagine Batman versus giant starfish?
Exactly. It did happen. It did happen, boys and girls.
Superman beating up one.
Yeah.
I need to see those panels.
Flying his fists through a giant starfish.
So screenplay score for me, yes, there's a lot of great memorable lines and stuff, but it's just too long for me. So I will go a solid 8, I think. Right, acting then. The first big laugh for me was when Weasel jumps out of the helicopter and starts drowning. Yeah. It cuts to Viola Davis, who does like the slowest head turn look at the guy in the chair. Is hilarious. Just like, seriously. Viola Davis is amazing in this. Like, there's another great moment from her when Bloodsport and the rest of the squad decide to kill the giant starfish, and Waller is like giving it everything, you know, disobeying orders. And she's threatening to, like, you know, explode their heads. And she's just like, she's giving it everything, like, you motherfuckers, turn around! Before being whacked is brilliant. And she is just such an amazing actress at that. And when an actor gets to that pure rage emotion, it's always immense to see.
Absolutely.
I think she's amazing. I can't wait to see the, what's that film she's in?
The Woman King, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
We haven't talked much John Cena, to be honest. Like, John Cena is, I think, just perfectly cast in this.
I think it's essentially his comedy timing is spot on. He knows exactly when to deliver his line.
Just very, like, deadpan as well, which works so well.
And it's kind of strange because he's like a massive cock, and and he's like really clueless, like super clueless. Yeah, as you said, just very deadpan. But and then he's also really awesome, physically, because obviously it's John Cena.
Yeah.
And in the action scenes.
Can't see him sometimes, but that's another thing. Sorry.
You can feel like he just does not want to be on this team, but he's kind of a fun character. And then that's why it's even more heartbreaking that he becomes a bad guy and you're like, oh man, and he still does that well.
Yeah, I mean, he brings a little bit of emotion in there when he kind of
absolutely
reveals his true mission. Yeah, he's really great with that little scene he has with Ratcatcher. Yeah, and also the actress who plays Ratcatcher too, I think, is great as kind of a millennial, as John Cena puts it.
Yeah.
Like tired all the time. I would say maybe, again, a weakness to the script is the fact that, like, her backstory, is kind of, I guess, in some ways the heart of the film, but, it didn't particularly move me or anything. But I still quite enjoyed it, and it was just kind of nice to see Taika Waititi as her dad.
Yeah. I also quite liked Polka Dot Man.
Yes.
He was very funny.
David Dastmalchian. I can never say his name.
I like just how he does these kind of... He looks like a fucking serial killer half the time.
Yeah, well, he is cast as serial killers many times.
So many times, yeah. I think I've seen him as a serial killer in quite a few things, actually. He was one of the escaped mental patients in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. And he's in Prisoners.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
As a schizophrenic.
Yeah, so he's always very freaky looking. So I like that, where... because some of his jokes are just like his look. He looks insane, But I like where, they're given the mission briefing and Bloodsport is like, oh, God, we're all going to die. And then he just turns to him and just looks at him like with his serial killer look and is like, I hope so. And he's like, Jesus.
So I can stop seeing my mom.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, David Dastmalchian. I can't say that word properly, but sorry, David, even though you're probably not listening to this. But I do love Idris Elba in this as well. Like every time he freaks out when he sees rats from Ratcatcher 2. I love the bit at, like literally near the right at the end on the helicopter when Sebastian the rat is on his lap and he's starting to freak out again, but kind of keeping his cool a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, but like slowly like strokes him. That was funny.
Yeah.
And Idris was like, just be careful. Nice and easy.
I like the first time he freaked out about seeing rats, or all the rats, where she got them all at King Shark. And he's like, would you stop it with the fucking rats? And then and like he's freaking out. And he's like, are you scared of rats? Yeah, I'm fucking scared of rats.
We've all got our weaknesses, people.
And Sebastian's trying to offer him a leaf. And he's going, he wants to be a friend. He's giving you a leaf. Why do I want a fucking leaf? Yeah.
Well, I don't think they brought toilet roll with them. So,
Yeah, I like that. I like that freak out. That was funny.
Favorite performance for me is John Cena.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that yours as well?
Yeah, I need to get to the series because it finished its first season ages ago. I need to. Maybe I'll watch it all tonight. I could do it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Boaz doesn't need sleep, people.
Ah, no, fuck it.
Acting score, Boaz, what are you going for?
I'm going to go a solid 8.
We've literally hardly talked about Margot Robbie at all.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, again, I don't know. I think it just might be the character. I am a big fan of Margot Robbie, but I'm just not a Harley Quinn fan.
Yeah.
Maybe it just might be tarnished with the fact that her first appearance was in the dreadful Suicide Squad, the David Akers one. Yeah, I mean, she is really good in this. Again, her action is amazing. Again, like everyone is really, really good in this, I would say. Got really great, all really great different types of comedy, even with Viola Davis, who plays Waller. Just really great deadpan as well. She's just one of these great actresses that can probably do anything, which we'll probably see with the Woman King as well. So I think I'll probably go a little bit higher, and like an 8.2. Right, the Suicide Squad. Let's add up them scores. The Suicide Squad gets exactly 50 points. So it definitely beats out Shazam with 43.3, The Nerdos podcast had a few things to say about this film as well. Kyle said that he has 2 words to describe it: gruesome and witty. Had some unpredictability and uncertainty.
That's more than 2 words.
Killing of characters such as Pete Davidson was funny. Lots of amazing tone changes that transitioned well, heartfelt character moments and thrilling action, lots of violence and intelligent humor. Loved the whole Harley Quinn escape scene. Yeah, we're definitely in agreement with that. Use of flowers blooming as blood just makes it beautiful and gory at the same time. King Shark, adorable.
Yeah, King Shark is like a big cannibalistic Groot. You know?
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone, you're basically going to be Groot, but cannibalistic and eat everyone.
Yes, you eat everything that moves.
And Zach said about the Suicide Squad, great film, completely isolated from the universe. Love the characters. Make James Gunn the next Kevin Feige for DC.
Yeah.
Peacemaker was awesome. So yeah, I definitely in agreement with a lot of those comments from the Nerd Dose. Again, hopefully we'll have them on in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe for a spoiler special or a future regular episode.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, Pete Davidson's role, I thought that was quite funny because before I watched that film, I watched a video of, like, Pete Davidson promoting it, the Suicide Squad, and he was talking about, like, yeah, I'm going to be in this film. I'm a superhero of sorts or anti-hero. He was saying all this stuff about his character. This is his origins, blah, 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 which none of that is touched on. And then he was like, and he goes, what kind of annoys me is this is the only film that I've been in, that my family is really excited to see because it's a superhero film. It's like, dude, you finally made it. You're a superhero. So they're going to go and watch me in it. I just thought that's fucking hilarious, having known that he dies within like the first minute or so.
Not only dies, gets shot in the face.
Shot straight in the face.
Yeah. So, next episode, as Amsterdam is already out, as I keep telling the studios in Hollywood, you're not listening to me about your release date schedules. But yeah, it was supposed to come out early November, but they brought it forward to early October. Can't change it. But yeah, so we'll be talking Christian Bale films and hopefully have guests for that one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, from the Good, the Pod, and the Ugly podcast. So that should be an exciting one to look out for on Christian Bale, who is definitely one of our finest actors, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah. Boaz, you have been amazing. As always, you can reattach your arms now. It's fine.
All right.
Stop. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it for part 2. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 1 if you haven't done so already. But don't stop there. Get involved and tell us what your favourite films are relating to the episodes. Send us a DM or comment on Instagram and TikTok at Film vs. Film Podcast, for Twitter at FVF_podcast. If you do, we'll give you a shout out on the next episode. If you're feeling really generous, you can buy us a one-off coffee at our Buy Me a Coffee account. Remember, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Pod signing off.